Welcome in this new episode of Financial News. Today we're going to talk about inflation. Financial markets the last few weeks are fearing that inflation might go up quite significantly in the course of 2021. And there's something into it because there are a number of factors which will push inflation higher this year. First of all, there are energy prices, oil prices. If you look on the graph, last year oil prices were much lower than in 2019, and so that pushed inflation downwards. This year we will have the opposite phenomenon with oil prices on average being higher than in 2020. So that will give an upward push to inflation in the course of this year. Next to that, we have seen that there's scarcity of containers in China, which means that for container traffic, prices have been going up quite significantly, and that could also push consumer price higher this year. Third, there has been a VAT increase in Germany in January, and of course, also this is a technical factor, but which will push inflation higher. And finally, there's also the phenomenon of the economy opening up in the course of this year, and then we expect that all services that have suffered during the lockdown, think of barbers, think of the event sector, think of restaurants and bars, they probably will increase a bit their prices to recoup some of the losses they suffered during the pandemic, during the lockdowns. And so this will also have an upward effect on inflation. So we will see definitely higher prices in the course of 2021. Inflation could be close to 2% in the second quarter in Europe, but we shouldn't exaggerate this phenomenon given the fact that some of these upward factors are temporary, and we shouldn't forget either that the economy is still way below potential. As you can see it on the slide, the European GDP dropped quite strongly in the course of 2020, and it recovered somewhat, but there's still some potential in the economy, meaning that there will definitely not a wage inflation spiral anytime soon. On top of that, the pandemic has also changed some structural things like e-commerce. Digitization has increased quite strongly, and this creates more price transparency, more competition, also a factor that will keep inflation at bay in the years to come. So all in all, yes, inflation will be temporarily higher this year, but it might fall back a bit in 2022. Well, central banks are well aware of the fact that inflation will be somewhat higher this year, but they also know that some of the upward pressure is temporary. So inflation might fall back a bit again in 2022, and therefore we don't expect any change in monetary policy this year. So both the Federal Reserve in the US and the European Central Bank in Europe will keep their interest rates at the current very low level for the rest of this year.